I'm so tired of sports betting gurus flexing mega wins and hiding all their L's. So here's my price picks receipts, 40k net profits, and over 1,000 publicly tracked units for my paid community. Today, I'm showing you what no guru ever has, a full month of results, every win, every loss, and zero BS. The challenge, double my starting balance through consistent calculated bets. This is 30 days of pure, unfiltered reality of what it actually takes to beat the books. So strap in. Now, if you've watched similar videos to this one, this is the part in the video where they go and find someone to copy picks from. Well, the good news is I don't have to do that because I run my very own Discord. And the slips I'll be using in this video are the same ones that I'll be sending there. So we're starting this challenge with a bankroll of $250. And to practice good bankroll management, we're putting 1% of that on every single slip. So it's going to be $2.50 per slip. Now, I know you're telling yourself, OJ, you're so smart, profitable, and handsome. Why are you only playing $2.50 per slip? Well, there's a couple reasons. The first one is PricePicks also knows that about me. So what they do is limit my bet size down to $5 per slip. Now, I'm not going to act like I'm the only one with this limit. It's actually quite common if you're a profitable bettor. But it gets worse than that because the limit is only $25 per day. So if I'm sending 10 slips in a day, I want to be able to get all of them in. So at most, I'll be putting $2.50. And the last reason is I know a lot of people are running smaller bankrolls on PricePicks. So I want to see how much damage we could do with just $2.50 per slip. This is how the account is looking on day one. We have a $250 balance, and we're actually coming in hot after a 25x from last night, which was May 31st. And last night's also a good representation of how this challenge will look. A high volume of 6-mans, which if you guys have been watching the channel should know are the most mathematically optimal slips. And we're looking for that 25x or that 34.5x when we power it. So it's currently 10:19 a.m. on June 1st. I'm going to go cook up the slips and start this challenge. So it looks like it's going to be an 8 slip day. We just sent 6 to the Discord and I have another 2 cooking up that I'm going to send a little later. And this is what we have for the board right now. All 8 slips are in. Let's see how day 1 goes. Well, day 1 has officially come to an end. And man, I wish it didn't start like this because as you'll notice, we already have a 6 for 6 slip. And the problem here is that's not just one. It's actually 2 6 for 6s. This one is going to pay 34.5x because it's a power, and this one paid out 25x because it's a flex. Now, the reason I say I wish it didn't happen is because I could already see you commenting, wow, this is such BS. This is a fake video. Well, no, it's June 1st, as you can see, 2025, 9:31 p.m. on Sunday, June 1st. This is as real as it gets. I'm showing you guys the wins and the losses. As you can see, some slips are complete duds. Loss here, loss here, loss here, loss here, loss here. Then we got 8.4x on this one slip. So I'm not just showing you my wins here. I'm showing you every single slip I played today. And like I showed you earlier, I played 8 slips, and these are the 8 slips that were played. So if I go and cross-reference this slip from what I sent in the Discord, Tyrone Taylor, for example, this is slip number 5 right here. And this first cash here for 34.5x was the PricePicks slip entry number 1. As you can see, 10:55 a.m. on June 1st once again. Now, I'm not going to pretend like this is not extremely lucky. I mean, these are my picks. I knew this challenge was going to go well, but starting day 1 like this, no one could expect. Now, I know there's going to be some ugly days ahead, and trust me, I'll be showing those ones too. That's the whole point of this challenge. Day by day by day, we're going to be updating the balance. But today, after day 1, it already sits at $379.75. We end the day up 51.9 units. So in our case, $129.75 of profit. It would be hilarious if day 2 brings a back-to-back hit though. 5:14 p.m. on day 2, all the slips are in. So we have 7 for today. 1 leg has already hit on one of the 6-mans. And for those of you who are still doubting last night, here is the past entries. As you can see, the same 8 I mentioned earlier with the 2 cashes right here. So for today, we have open these 7 slips. I'll get back to you guys with the results. It's a new day, boys, June 3rd, and all of the slips from last night have settled, which was day 2, of course. And man, let me tell you, we were close to that back-to-back. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 slips that missed by 1 prop. And it's Andy Page's prop right here. Ended up chalking in extra innings, which is very unfortunate. And one of those 5 slips that were one off was actually a power that was going to pay 86.25, which would have been a massive boost to the balance. But it was actually still a profitable day because since we're playing these flexes, we're getting 2x for the 4 out of 5s or the 5 out of 6s. Because in this case, you could see we did have a push on some of these players. So because we had 4 flex plays that were one off, we got 2x for each of those. And we also got a 0.4x for this one slip that went 3 out of 5. That's 8.4 units in return for the 7 units spent with a 1.4 unit profit on the day. Now that totals to $3.50 of profit, but as you can see, our balance is actually down from yesterday. That's because it is day 3 and the slips are already in. So that's another $15 that we spent on slips today. If nothing very eventful happens tonight, we're gonna go and recap multiple days in one so this video doesn't become 3 hours long. So disregarding the slips we played on day 3, the total account balance after 2 days is at $383.25. I will also note that it is Taco Tuesday today, but I will not be including any promo slips within my balance. I want to make this challenge a little harder, so might as well see what I could do without any promos, but I will tally all the promo wins I do end up getting for the Discord at the end of the video. It is currently the morning of day 6. No slips have been played just yet, but we do have to recap days 3 to 5. And earlier in the video, I said there's going to be some ugly days, and day 3 was exactly that. If we scroll over to June 3rd, 2025, you'll see 6 slips, and they were all complete duds. None of them were even close, no 0.4x's and no 2x's. That was a -6 unit day. In other words, $15 down the drain. And day 4 wasn't much better. It was almost a great day if this 25x would have hit. We did go 5 out of 6. But this one tennis girl could not pull through for us. Other than that, we got a 0.4x, but on 8 slips, we're still going to be down 5.6 units. So $14 loss on day 4. Now, day 5 was pretty tame. We actually got 2 hooks. One was here for 10x on Alex Russo's offensive rebounds. Needed that to go under for the 10x. And then same thing here. We had Veronica Burton on her under 5.5 first half points. Ended up getting 10 pretty quickly here. So this was a 5 out of 6. Other than that, we refunded 1 slip because there was 3 DNPs on it and the other slips lost. So 6 total slips, 2 of those were 2x's. So a total loss of 2 units or $5. So from our day 2 peak of $383, we are now down about $35 from there, but still up around $100 from the start. I also do have 1 open slip, which is for the NBA series. Game 1 was last night. So far, it's not looking too bad except the SGA under 3s and the Dort under points. We'll see how this settles when the series actually finishes. Day 6 was a heartbreaking one. We almost hit a new all-time high, but of course, we got the 5 out of 6 here. The slip was looking amazing about halfway through the game, but then bottom of the 5th, Nolan did this, getting him his hit and his RBI to chalk the under 1.5. On top of that, we had 2 slips go 4 out of 6, and there was another one that's open that's going to settle here soon. So 8 total slips, 0.8 units back. That's a loss of 7.2 units or $18 down for our balance. Now, of course, we are tumbling, but that is the nature of playing 6-mans. I'm not worried about the day-to-day fluctuations. I'm worried about where the account balance will be in the long run. And right now, not only are we up from our initial balance, but we're 1 hit away from our all-time high again. So I'm not worried at all. It's currently the afternoon of day 9, and let me tell you, day 7 and 8 were pretty eventful here. So already on day 7, we started off with a very good looking slip. 5 out of 6, all we needed was Crochet to go over his first inning hits allowed. And he's up against the Yankees. We're talking Goldschmidt, we're talking Rice, and we're talking Aaron Judge. So Goldschmidt steps up, 2-2 count to start, and he strikes out. Not a great start, but Rice is up next, so it should be a productive at-bat. Well, no, he grounds out on the first pitch. But who cares? Because you already know who's up next. Aaron Judge, the man with a .4 batting average. All we need is a single, but I wouldn't even be surprised if he homers it. Starts off rocky with a 2-2 count. But do you really think he's going to let us down? Well, yeah, he struck out, and that's another 5 out of 6 to add to the count. But the worst part is that was not the only 5 out of 6 that night. We also had this one with a darts play. Yes, guys, I bet on darts too. I do pretty much any sport, but this was another one that could have turned into that 25x. Unfortunately, we get way less payout than that. We get the 2x, and we also had another 2.4x's. So overall, 9 slips, 2 2x's, 2.4x's for a total loss of 4.2 units or $10.5 on day 7. But it's okay because day 8, we had a chance to redeem ourselves, and this is how one of our slips was looking very early on in the day. 5 greens, all we needed was Maydroth to stay under his 5.5 fantasy score. It was the bottom of the 9th on his last at-bat with a very low chance of extra innings. An easy out, and we cash for 25x. Well, as you can see, he singled, but we're still good because that's only 3 fantasy score. Stealing a base would be 5 fantasy score, which would be really bad, but he can't because someone's on second. Well, he ends up on third, but surely he doesn't steal home. That would just be ridiculous. And obviously he doesn't, but he does get the run, putting him at exactly 5 fantasy score. Elko strikes out and the game ends, cashing us for 25x. Other than that, we did also have 2.4x's, and it was a small slate with only 6 slips. So a total profit of 19.8 units or $49.5. and you could see the total balance is now sitting at $367.75. Now we're not back at the peak, but one more good day in the next few days and we'll be well above it instead. So let's see where we end up in these next few days. It's currently Friday, June 13th, which means we have days 9 to 12 to recap. And after the cash on day 8, we were hunting for that back-to-back. We had a slip looking absolutely amazing, which is on screen right now. The Cardinals were at home and ended up going up 4-3 in the bottom of the 8th, which means barring any OT, all we needed to do was survive the top of the 9th with Bo and Vlad. So we just needed 2 easy outs, but of course it wasn't that simple. Right away, Toronto ties it with a homer, putting it to 4-4. So already we have the potential for pushing into extra innings. But on top of that, Vlad just put an end to the whole slip with a double. It would have been fine with a single, but he ended up getting the double, pushing him up to 8 fantasy score and giving us another 5 out of 6 to the count. This one would have been for 34.5x with that $86 payout. We absolutely needed that cash because other than that, none of these slips looked too good. We had 2.4x's for a total loss of 5.2 units or $13 on day 9. It would have been really nice to hit that power on June 9th because on June 10th, we hit absolutely nothing. Straight loss of 6 units or minus $15. Our closest slip was this 3 out of 4 for 9x, but no luck there. Now, June 11th was bittersweet because we did cash, but it was on quite a bit of slips and it was only a 10x because we got this DNP on one of the plays. But overall, this was a big slate. So we had 9 slips, 1 10x, 2.4x's. It was only a small profit of 2.8 units or $7. Now, catching all the way up to June 12th, we did have another similar small profit day like June 11th. This was a smaller slate, only 5 slips, but we did hit this 6x again with 2 DNPs. Would have been nice to see these guys play at least for the 10x, maybe even the 25x if both of them played. But we'll take the 6x and the 2.4x's for a small profit of 1.8 units or $4.3. Our balance is now sitting at $351.25. And remember, we still have this NBA series slip, which is looking something like this. Only SGA and Dort are over their totals right now. It is currently the afternoon of the 17th, which means we have 4 days of results to catch up on. And let me tell you, it has not been going well. So we'll start with June 13th, which was 6 slips, all chalk, which means minus 6 units straight. June 14th was a little better. This time we had 7 slips, but we got the 2x instead of the 25x that we needed. Another 5 out of 6 to add to the count. It gets worse because on the 15th, we played 8 slips, again with another 5 out of 6. This one was going to pay 21x if it cashed, but unfortunately it did not. We also got 2 more 0.4x's for a total loss of 5.2 units. That brings us to the most recent day, which is the 16th, where we lost all 4 slips. Very small slate here, and our balance sits at $300.75. So in the past 4 days, we're on a losing streak of minus 20.2 units, or in dollars terms, $50.50. Now, if you're used to playing 2 and 3 mans, this might look absolutely crazy to you losing 4 days straight, but honestly, it's completely normal when you're playing 6 mans. Remember, guys, this is my system. I'm not copying anyone else, so I'm very aware of how this works. And as annoying as it is, it's completely normal. I can even show you the math behind it very quickly. If we're to hit 3.5% of our 6 mans and we played 26 mans, the chances that we get 0 cashes is about 49%. The odds that when I'm playing 20 straight slips and get 0 cashes is about the same as just flipping a coin and getting tails. It's not that crazy when you put it like that. So after 16 days, our total is just above $300, which is about $85 down from our peak and $50 above our start. It's Sunday, June 22nd, which means we're currently a couple minutes away from the start of Game 7 of the NBA playoffs. And I'm telling you that because that NBA series slip is looking quite good, which I'll show you in a bit, right after I catch up on these past 6 days of price pick slips. And not to spoil too much, but you'll see exactly why we bet 1% of our bankroll on each of these slips. Because as you can see, June 17th, the losing streak continued. So that's 5 straight days of cashing absolutely nothing. Well, I guess if you want to count this 0.4x, that is not going to cut it when we're playing 5 slips. So minus 4.6 units on this day. But it gets worse because June 18th is a literal carbon copy of the previous day. 1.4x, 5 slips for a loss of 4.6 units. You'll also notice some other 4 out of 6s that didn't pay us anything because these ones were power plays. And because of the way I'm building these MLB slips, it is more mathematically optimal to power them rather than flex them. So we are sacrificing the insurance to make sure that when we do get the 6 out of 6, we are getting an $86.25 payout rather than something around 60 or 55. But moving on to the next day, it was even worse because this time we played an extra slip with 6 slips, 1.4x for a total loss of 5.6 units. So nothing crazy to talk about for those days, but June 20th is where things got interesting. Right away, you'll notice that there was 7 slips, but I do want to note that this one right here is actually a duplicate of this one here. And the reason that happened is because I want this challenge to resemble the Discord as much as possible, right? I said I'm going to be sending each of these slips to the Discord so we win and lose together. Now, when I originally sent it, you could see all the X's basically means no one got this slip, because what happened is that the Twins players got taken off. I think it was Castro that got taken off right away. So what I did is remade it with this version, and I just threw in Buxton instead of Castro. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to refund the original slip that I made, so I just have this duplicate slip. So I lost an extra unit there. But let's call it 6 slips on this day. But what really matters is the 2 5 out of 6s. The first one here with Andrew going over his 5.5 fantasy score. Of course, he absolutely crushed it, but this one would have paid 34.5x or $86.25, which of course would have been a massive boost to the bankroll. And the second one hurts a little bit more here because Nick Gonzalez, Pittsburgh only got 2 runs. He still managed to get that 3 hits, runs, RBI. And this one was also a power, so we had a beautiful 33.5x multiplier waiting for us. Unfortunately, neither of them hit. So we're still on that losing streak. We are definitely bleeding bad here with another minus 5.6 unit day, because we did get this 0.4x down here. Before I show the results for June 21st, let's set the stage. We had a slip looking a little something like this about midway through the game. So Mike Trout and Neto cashing their overs. All we needed was for Houston to stay under their props, with Altuve not looking too good there, right? He already had 6 out of his 6.5 hitter fantasy score. But the good news is that Angels were up. This was already after 2 at-bats. So odds are Altuve gets a 3rd at-bat and maybe gets pinch hit for later in the game because of the fact that Houston starters usually get pulled in these sort of blowout games. So we get to the 3rd at-bat. Isaac grounds out, so that's looking good for his under 6.5 fantasy score. Next up is Altuve. We get a perfect start with a foul ball strike. It gets a bit dicey when we follow up with 2 balls, but on the 4th pitch, he gets a strike. 2-2 count. This looks pretty okay for us until that 5th pitch comes in and it's another ball. Now at this point, you could probably see where this is going. Yes, he gets another ball and walks to first base, giving him 2 more fantasy score to go right above that 6.5 fantasy score at 8 to chalk the whole slip. So after 2 5 out of 6s on the 20th, we get another 5 out of 6 on the 21st. Again, this was a power play, this time paying a little less at 30.5x, but this would have been a massive boost to the bankroll. I honestly couldn't believe that Altuve went over that fantasy score prop with 3 walks and a run. The last time Altuve got 3 walks in a game was in 2023. So it just hurt to see, and what made it worse is that all 3 of the guys we needed to stay under ended up getting pinch hit for in the top of the 8th, as I expected because of this blowout. So we really just needed that one out there. Unfortunately, we did not get it, and the bleeding continues. Now don't worry, because June 22nd is also interesting. As you can see, complete misses once again. 4 losses here, and we had this 1 open slip that also is going to be a loss. So minus 5 unit day on the 22nd. So for the first time in this challenge, we are actually below where we started with a balance of $222.25. If we add in that $2.50 of the duplicate slip we played, we're looking at $225. So still 25 below where we started and a long way away from where we peaked. Remember, we do still have this NBA series slip, and this is a 37.5x power. And on screen right now, you could see what exactly we need to happen for this to all stay under their props. So both Chet and Siakam are going to be very tough. It's a very tight 50-50 line on both of them. Everything else is pretty much cash, except for Dort, maybe if he has a crazy game. But Nemhard, Halley, and SGA are both easy cashes. There's no way they're hitting any of those lines. We're just putting all our faith in Chet and Pascal to have below average games tonight. Let's see how that goes.
Nemhard kicks it out. Toppin. Good contest from Dort. Halliburton falls down. He looks hurt. Here comes SGA the other way. Inside, and Williams throws it down.
Yeah, that's really not what you want to see as a fan of basketball. And it's especially not what you want to see when you have a Siakam under. With 7 points for Siakam at the end of Q1 and no Halley, this was not looking good. And Chet also already had 4 rebounds. Fast forward to the end of the 3rd quarter and things were looking promising again. Pascal with 13, Chet with 5. Throughout the 4th, Siakam stayed slow, but Chet was hungry for the double-double, snagging this rebound, then this one, and then this one. meaning 2 more and the slip is finished. 16 points for Siakam and 8 rebounds for Chet with 4 minutes left in the game. But thankfully, that's how it ended. No bad beat this time. After 2 weeks, the NBA series slipped cash for 37.5x for a payout of $93.75. The wait was well worth it. I will also note that I did add an extra $2.50 to the balance, which was that one unit that I had to play that duplicate slip for earlier in the video. Now, as beautiful as this win is, it did settle for June 5th because that's when it was placed, which means technically we're still on that losing streak. So the job's not finished at all. I want another hit within these next few days that is going to bring us to a new all-time high and potentially a $400 bankroll mark. It's the day after the NBA series cash and I'm already checking it again. You could probably guess what that means. We are so incredibly back. We played 6 slips last night and got 1 cash, but again, this was a power which paid 30.5x, bringing our total up to $379.75. We're not quite back to the all-time high, but after 23 days and a crazy losing streak, we're still up $129.75, or in other words, 51.9 units. Currently the morning of the 26th, we have no slips placed yet, but we do have 2 days to recap. Let's start right away with the 24th. And as you can see, this top 4 slips are part of the 24th, minus 4 units straight away. We have one hiding right up here, and yes, it's another 5 out of 6. And this one was going to pay, I believe, 30.5x or 30x here. And Freddie Freeman was the only one we needed to cash this slip. And as you'll notice, he seemed to be the only one on this Dodgers team that did not have a hit that night. More than half the team had 2 hits, but he could just not do anything. A little bit of a tough 5 out of 6 there. We weren't able to keep the cash streak alive, but as we scroll over to the 25th, you'll notice another 5 out of 6, this time with Nolan, who could not go over that half a run. So add that to the tally. But if we scroll up a little bit more, yeah, you'll see it right here. These 6 out of 6, this time for 34.5x, which was massive for us. $86.25 added to the bank. So yeah, we could have potentially had 2 6 out of 6s this day. But on 6 slips with a 34.5x, that is a profit of 28.5 units. And what you'll notice is our balance is at a crazy all-time high of $438.50. Now remember, just a few days ago, we were all the way down to 225. You guys are probably questioning, what the hell is this guy doing? Well, now we're up $213.5 from there, completely wiping out the losing streak and surpassing our old all-time high. And remember, this doesn't even include all the free squares, tacos, or other promos that PrizePicks ran throughout this month. As I've mentioned, I do run promos in the Discord, but I'm not using them for myself to make the challenge a little bit harder. But yesterday was absolutely beautiful. As you could see right here, this is how it looked for someone who's a $5 unit better in the Discord, where we cashed 1, 2, 3, and 4 out of the 5 discounts with 2 units on each of those. All in all, 25 days into the challenge, we are at a brand new peak of $438.50. Let's see if we could get it to that $500 mark. It's the final day of this challenge, and I wish I was making up what I'm about to show you. We have 4 days of results to recap, so let's kick it off with the 26th. This was a 7 slip day, and right away you'll notice another 5 out of 6 to add to the count. We had 1 COD play, which ended up going over instead of under, so we only got the 2x here instead of the 25x on this flex play. Other than that, we did get a 0.4x here and another 0.4x here. So on 7 slips with these 3 partial wins, we lost 4.2 units on the 26th. Things get even more heartbreaking when we go over to the 27th. You'll see even more slips. This was a total of 8, but again, 2 more 5 out of 6s. We had this first one here, which was actually a power for 34.5x. Polanco ended up getting 3 hits, runs, RBIs instead of that 1.5 that we needed on the under. And the second 5 out of 6 was a flex. It would have paid 25x, of course. And the worst part about this one, it was actually the same one that I sent for Flex Friday. Now for us, it doesn't really matter. My unit's $2.5 either way. But some people's Flex Fridays could be up to $35. So if they would have hit a 25x on that, they would have absolutely been eating. But instead, with only a 2x on 8 slips, we actually lost 6 units on the 27th. And what's crazy is it gets even worse than this, because as we scroll over to the 28th, you'll see a smaller slate here, only 6 slips, but a 5 out of 6 here, 5 out of 6 here, and a 4 out of 5 here. Now these were all powers that would have paid us massive. So this first one was for 34.5x. We had a bad beat here. 7 fantasy score right above that 6.5. That one was tough. We go over to this next one for a little bit less of a payout, 32.5x. Cal ended up getting one of the 2 runs for Seattle that night. Another bad beat there. Then lastly, this one was a bit less of a bad beat because it was only going to pay 17x with the DNP, and Buxton did end up getting 2 runs. But that is 3 more hooks to add to the tally and another -6 units. Now, as we move up to the 29th to get fully up to date, you'll see another 6 slips because this one we did refund due to a DNP, and another hook on this slip right here. Now, this one would have only paid 10x because it was a flex and there was a DNP on it. But it's crazy because in the past 4 days since our last cash, we've had 7 hooks, some of these being powers, paying us up to 34.5x. But instead of cashing, we're on another little losing streak here. And on this specific day, we had a 2x, 8.4x on 6 slips. That is a loss of 3.6 units. That brings our total balance on the afternoon of June 30th to $389, which means if we want to complete this challenge, we need 2 cashes today like we did on June 1st. Can we pull it off? We'll see very soon. I'll be honest, for a second I thought I was really going to pull off the double cash. I was already preparing a cinematic Michael Jordan edit midway through these games, because other than this 5 out of 6, this 4 out of 6 slip was also looking very promising. Instead, we're left with no cashes and a continuation of the hook streak. With 5 slips, this 0.4x and this 1.5x, we lost 3.1 units on the final day of the challenge. So finally on day 30, we're left with a balance of $381.25, only making it halfway to our goal. Looking back, I might have nerfed myself a little too hard, because had I used promos, the final balance would be well above $500. We made an extra 65 units from discounts, free squares, and everything else Prize Picks threw at us this month. But in our reality, after 185 slips placed, 27 hooks, and 6 6-for-6s, we 1.5x the bankroll for a final profit of $131.25. Most importantly is all that profit came from only $462.50 worth of wagers, making the ROI 28.38%. That is substantial. For every $100 we risked, we made about $28 back in pure profit. And one last fun fact, there were 22 losing days and only 8 winning days, with the longest losing streak being 10 days for a run of -50.6 units. By the way, if you appreciate this level of transparency and breakdown and want to see a potential NFL version of this video, run up that like button. Now remember, we did all of this just betting $2.50 per slip. Here's how the results would look if we were throwing down 5s, now 10s, now 20s, and even 50s. You can see how this gets terrifying for Prize Picks when you scale it up. And trust me, if I didn't have these ridiculous limits slapped on my account, I'd be printing money. But overall, it's great that hundreds of people in my Discord were able to live through this journey with me, and you viewers got to see it all unfold in real time. You saw just how ugly things can get, but in the end, the big wins always, and I mean always, outweigh the losses. What's wild is you guys only saw 30 days of my system, but this isn't new. I've been documenting every single bet since I opened this Discord back in November 2023. 18 full months of proven results. And if you're watching this video at a later date, you'll see the up-to-date results with the second link in the description. There's no one on the internet that does this, because then they'd have to admit they're losers. Now, if you're thinking about joining my community, I'll leave you with one final note. If you're the type who gets emotional over losses, don't join. If you got $100 to your name, don't join. If you would have rage quit during that losing streak, definitely don't join. But if you're disciplined enough to spend 10 minutes a day placing picks, you've got at least $500 to invest, and if you understand that most days will suck, but the long-term profit is inevitable, I can undoubtedly say this is one of the best Discords to be in. It's the first link in the description. If you're good off all that and want to learn to do things on your own, check out this video right here.